like, yeah, the founders are no longer just the ones that you've always known and always seen. Like, if you watch an episode of Dragon's Den, you're finding so many more like um, ethnicities, and you're finding so many more walks of life and genders kind of like entering the space and becoming entrepreneurs, being the ones who are reaching out to branding agencies and needing their help. And you're going to need like a whole bunch of different people to also like get into the minds of all clients. And I think if I were to kind of like talk about, your initial question, right? Like this whole idea of what happens when you've kind of like gone past the initial conversation of like, okay, we need more diversity in branding. What happens when you start hiring people who are from diverse backgrounds? That's not, you're not going to unlock like the good stuff essentially from diversity if you just leave it at that. Because remember, like, I think if I were to speak on my own experiences, and I can't speak for all minority groups or like whatever, but I think like after like talking and having really frank conversations with people who are in the same position as me, I have realized a lot of kind of like recurring trends. As an Asian woman, you're socialized or like you're raised sort of to observe the boundaries a lot. You're really taught to like read the room, and this is stuff that is implicit. It's never kind of like spelt out to you, but you kind of are able to go into a room and in a way figure out like, where is it safe for me to kind of reside? Where is everyone looking? Who is everyone looking at? Who is the one who thinks they have the power versus the person who actually does? And it's like actually kind of gross when you say it out loud and when you speak about it. But it's almost this like invisible world that you can perceive, right? And because of that, you sort of don't really learn to develop your own thoughts, at least in my experience. I didn't learn to develop my own perspective, but I learned how to read the room and how to like adjust myself to exist within it, how to make people feel good, how to understand what's that person's kind of like underlying motivator or driver, and how can I be the one to help fulfill that or like get things in place so that that can unlock for them, right?
When you talk about like that, it sounds like a superpower. It sounds like something that can be quite valuable if harnessed, if sort of directed
Yeah.
effectively, because you're able to understand what's happening on a different level and then able to adjust and sort of communicate in a slightly different way to suit the scenario that you're in.
Ross, it's so useful. I would say that like it's a weakness in some ways, but also it's a strength. It's a weakness when you dilute yourself to the point of invisibility, where you don't exist, unless in relation to other people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a strength when you actually overcome that. You kind of like get a sense of who you are, where you start, where you end, and then you're able to still have those skills of like just deep empathy, deep understanding of what people's motivators are, and bring those two together. That's where I think the magic really happens. And that's where I think over the last 2 years since we first talked, that was the journey that I was on. And so it's really fresh. And I'm excited to talk to you about that.